Hey guys, this is Sports Card Man. I'm going to be doing my top 10 second baseman for the 2020 season. This is my logo for my brand, picture of MLB Network used last year when they did their top 10 second baseman. And this is the cover of my book that you can buy on Amazon, either Amazon website or Amazon Kindle. Just search Sports Card Man, a whole new ball game. You can get it for $10 and have it delivered to your Kindle device or your internet browser or things like that. It's a really good book. I think people will like it. But yeah, let's get into some current values on cards and like future predictions. So number 10, I did Cabin Biggio. His stats weren't great last year in his rookie year, but I think they'll be a lot better this year. Just because he could be one of those players that improves a lot in year two. And he's always going to have really good value because of the comparison of people talking about the Blue Jays offense with having a really good young lineup and how they had former their fathers were former stars and things like that. So I think just for those reasons, I still see him having some good upside on his stuff. And all of these are good buys. And his stuff has trended up a lot since the last couple months since I started doing my Bowman Chrome research in December. So any of these guys in PSA 10s, Bowman Chrome, or BGS 95s are good values. I see all of them going up in value, and I wanted to make sure to include Biggio on my list. Let's go to number 9. Gavin Lux. Obviously, his 2016 Bowman Chrome auto. It's a real hot card, especially in the PSA 10. They're around like 380 to 450. I've seen them anywhere from. So I think they could go up more if he gets hot, like in the beginning of the season. But some people are saying he's a little overvalued though too. So there is a little risk with him just because you're kind of buying in high already. So that scares me a little bit because your margin for profit is kind of small on him just because he's already pretty high. So he'd have to get like real hot, similar to like Alonso or something like that. And I don't think he's gonna have like a 50 home run season. And because he's playing second, I think that hurts his value a little bit. If he was playing shortstop, for instance, like his value would be a lot higher. Just look at like Torres. I mean, Torres didn't really do anything from last year up until this year other than move the shortstop, and the value of his stuff went way up just because he became the everyday shortstop for the Yankees. So it tells you that position does matter. So any of these though are good buys. If I would buy one, I would probably take a shot with like ungraded if I could get in the like 180, 200 range, just because it's kind of safer. And if I do have to like take a loss on it or something, or not take a loss, but get out of it or trade it or anything, I'm not like totally invested in him real deep. So just be careful if you're gonna buy a Lux, for the reasons I pointed out. Let's go to number 8. Luis Arias or Arias. I'm not sure how to say his last name. I've seen him play obviously, but I'm not familiar with how to say his name like correctly. So apologize if that's wrong. He's trended a lot up in value. His PSA 10 is actually like similar to his ungraded one now from when I made this. So I think 10s now are actually closer to 125 already. So that just tells me, that people are expecting him to have a real big year. And people are really, high on the Twins this year too. So um, even if you're paying a little strong for him, I think there's still a lot of upside. Just because, people love the way he hit last year, and if he maintains that high average, I think, he could possibly go up more, from what I pointed out. I think although even though he's starting to trend up pretty high, it kind of has a small margin for profit too, similar to Lux. So, but if you can get a PSA 10 similar to the value of an ungraded one, buy the 10 all day over the ungraded one. Like there's no comparison. Um, And actually, a true gem is, from when I made this, was around a similar value to PSA 10s too. So his stuff is kind of like all over the board. But like I said, I probably made this one probably like a couple weeks ago. So these numbers could be a little off. So correct me if I'm a little off on them. But let's go to some other ones. 7, Mistakis. He's had a good career. He had to play a lot on 1 year contracts last couple of years. Just signed that big deal with the Reds. A lot of people are in on the Reds this year for being like a possible like sleeper team because they did make a lot of moves. Just because you make a lot of moves though doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna make the playoffs. But Mistakis is a solid player, but he just his stuff's really cheap. So I mean, if you're going to buy him, he might be a little tougher to sell, unless he gets like red hot. Like red hot would be like 8 or 10 home runs in a month or something. That's what it would take to probably make a good profit on him. But I mean, even at 15, $20, it's a real low risk investment. From 2008 Bowman Chrome. I didn't find any graded examples, so I would just buy the ungraded if I was going to buy him. Let's go to number 6, Brandon Lowe. He was a rookie last year with the Rays. A lot of people like the Rays this year to make the playoffs again, probably like as one of those wild card teams. This card has a really low pop too, and any card with a low pop and someone that has like a good had a good year like low last year, this is definitely a good buy. Just because even at $20 or $30, I think it has some like sneaky good upside just because of how low the pop is and like how good low was last year. So definitely be confident in buying them, and you're definitely gonna probably see a double in value, and it's not a card that people are paying attention to either. So which you want to take advantage of. Number 5, Keston Herrera, 2017 Bowman Chrome Auto. I like Herrera. I think he's really good. He still has some upside to go up. Um, Someone pointed out this to me about like the possible like Asian market too. How a lot of people would want to buy him just for him being Asian. So I'm not like saying that's why I want to buy it, but maybe other people want to just for that reason. But I do think there's still a lot of upside with him, and he had like really good numbers last year, and he only played like probably about half a season. So in his first full season, he could put up big numbers. And the Brewers, I'm sure will be good for a while. I'm not sure if they'll make the playoffs, but I know they'll probably be good for a while. So he should be an easy sale for like the majority of the season. But any of these are good buys, and tens, ungraded. I probably would go ungraded, or like the 10, but I mean any of them are good too. Though. Let's go to number 4. I like Ozzy Albies a lot. He's still only 23 years old, which is actually like amazing that he's actually this good and like this young. His stuff is hard to get graded, especially like 9.5s or PSA 10s, and those are going to trend up a lot. I think this year, like Albies is one probably of my favorite player of the second baseman in terms of what being able to go up the highest. I think just because he's on the Braves, who are going to probably make the playoffs. He's still really young. He's already entering his 3rd year, and last year was his best season, and his cards have the lowest pop of any of these like high grade examples. And even ungraded ones, the things to look for is like this auto is like borderline a 10 because it has that small streak, but I still think this one would get a 10 because it only has one small streak. So if you're going to buy ungraded, you got to look at his auto, especially because a lot of them are streaky. You got to look for like surface stuff, you got to look for centering. But any of these are good buys too, and I think Albies is going to be one of the guys that goes up the quickest amongst the people on this list, just because his stuff was really high, even when he first debuted, and I think he can go up a lot more this year in comparison to last year. Marte, he was a guy, was one of those players last year that was, real big into changing his swing with like trying to like generate more of like to hit home runs, and as a result, he had like his best season of his career. With the D-backs, they're gonna shift him to second base once now that they got Marte in center. He has a lot of good upside still to go up, a little bit in ungraded and probably a little higher in graded versions. Just because he's starting to trend up a little bit higher now that we're getting closer to the season. So he was that kind of a guy you had to buy a couple months ago to see a bigger margin of profit if you're going to resell him. But I still do think there's like some sneaky good upside with him, just because of the power potential at the position and of like how big of a year he had last year. And if he's like 90% of that last year, or even like 85%, you should be fine with if you do decide to invest in Marte. Number two, DJ. I mean, he was great last year with the Yankees. Some people would say that that might have been his best season, even though previous years he won like the batting title. But like last year, he was close to having 200 hits. He had his career high in home runs. He had over 100 RBIs. He played multiple positions with the Yankees. And his Bowman Chrome ungraded reached around like $80 when he was with the Yankees. And right now, they've come back down to like 25, 40. Sometimes even like refractors are selling for like 40-ish, which if you can get a refractor of LeMahieu for like 40, 50, I would buy it like all day. Just because that's an easily like 100+ card once he gets hot again with the Yankees. The thing about him too is I am surprised the Yankees didn't re-sign him as of right yet, and we're in like towards the end of February. And so what that means is he's actually entering his free agency year again, so he could even have a better year knowing that he's going to be about to become a free agent. And the free agent pool this year is like not the best. So LeMahieu could wind up being one of the like biggest free agents again. So he could easily have a big year again. So I like any of these buys just for all those reasons, I pointed out. Refractors are not that much higher than Bowman Chromes. And PSA 10s will be really tough to find because there's only a pop of 7. So I don't think you're going to expect to see too many of them become available. So definitely refractors ungraded or Chrome base ungraded. Look for those. And if you can get them in similar values, then definitely jump on it. I put Altuve on the number one still just because, he's got a lot of batting titles still. Um, I don't know how much he benefited off the sign stealing thing, and I know a lot of people are talking about it. Um, I've seen them come down to like $60, and like I think like it's hard to say, but I think I feel like there's some people still buying up Astros players, and they're hoping that they can be patient, and people are gonna say like, oh, I was able to get this guy during the sign stealing thing, and I was able to get this person when like this was going on, and then like a couple of years from now, people might forget about it, or people just might not want Astros players at all, like in terms of guys that were on that 2017 team. I know Jordan Alvarez is still selling, and guys like Springer taking a hit, which I pointed out. Altuve's taking a hit, Bregman, guys like that. So Altuve though at 60 and a 10, I mean, is he still a Hall of Famer because of this? But no one's been really talking about that. So because of I think he would still make the Hall of Fame, but I'm not sure. But I think because of him still being such a really good hitter, it's hard to say how much he benefited off the sign stealing, and things like that, or just because that was Altuve's MVP season though. So that's the only thing that does kind of say like, okay, obviously he did benefit off of it, but how much? So he might not have a great year this year. He could still be really good, like, or it's hard to say. But at $60, I think I would still take a chance on one just because I think they can get back up to like 100, and I think the Astros will still be really good this year, despite the sign stealing thing. But I think it's gonna take some time. So if like you're not comfortable buying it, I totally like get it just because of that. But I think I would just because of like the things I pointed out. But yeah, that's it. I'm gonna try to do a couple more positions. I know I've been a couple weeks behind and things like that, but I'm going to try to put out a couple more and just see what you guys think and what you liked and who you didn't like and let me know. Thanks. Talk to you guys. Bye.